Okay, my name is Russ Hyder. I run the JewelryCAD Institute.com, and I'm going to be using the Rhinoceros software here. One of the softwares we teach. The other one is Matrix. I'm going to use Rhinoceros here to make this 4-prong gallery head. I've already imported one of my gemstones here, as you can see, and I'm just going to move it up into position. So I'm going to select it. Shift ortho on. I'm going to bring it up about maybe 6 millimeters or so above the x-axis down here in the front viewport. The next thing I want to do is designate what we're going to use for the upper circle or upper gallery wire here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go get a circle over here. And I'm going to start it on F4, and actually F4 is 0, 0, 0, and you can designate it as a hotkey in the Rhino options. So I'm going to bring it in here. Now, if you have your snaps on, these get in the way, so if you hold the Alt key down, just a little trick there you can use. And I'm going to bring it in till it's approximately about 4.5 millimeters in diameter. If I wanted to get it exact, I'd just type it in 4.5 and hit enter. And I'll left click there and drop it. Now you can see it's down below here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit bigger here and double click on the front viewport so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to shift ortho on. I'm going to bring it up here a little bit, and I know this is going to be about a 1 millimeter wire, and I don't want it to touch the stone necessarily, and I can navigate that in a little bit if I need to. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and put a pipe around that. Okay, and that's a solid menu, and you just click on pipe, and it always defaults to radius up here in your command line, so I'm going to choose diameter by left clicking on that. And now that that's the diameter, I'm just going to type in 1, hit enter, and enter again. And it's going to give you this upper gallery wire. And I'll shade that so you can see a little bit better. I also can use the arrow keys here just to show you that we're not touching the pavilion of the stone, which is fine. You can adjust that at any time if you want to. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is try to designate where I'm going to put a prong. Now remember, we're drawing this right on the C-plane. And so I am going to just go get a single line over here, and I'm going to turn my snap on, and every time you turn on your snap, it snaps to 1 grid increment is set by Rhinoceros as default. So I'm just going to go over here to 1 millimeter increments, and I'm going to left click there to start my line, and then I'm going to come up here and go to just above, about even with the table. Now because I still have my snaps on, I have to turn them off because it's taking my line, so I will go ahead and toggle that off. Now I got pretty much command of it. Now I want to bring it right about past the girdle, and I want to be just above, about even with the table there. Okay, and I'll left click there. Alright, now the next thing you can do is go ahead and put a pipe around this. And I'm going to go ahead and do that right now and go to solid menu and another pipe. And you'll notice that the stone is about 6.5 millimeters in diameter. In other words, about a 1 carat stone. So I'm going to put a 1 millimeter prong on this. And we're already designated as 1 millimeter between the 2 angle brackets. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit enter and enter again, and then enter one more time, and it's going to give you that prong. Now I know that looks huge on the board here, but really isn't all that big. Alright, so now we've got one of them here. To get 4 of them, I'm going to go ahead and get out of the front viewport, and I'll get in the top viewport here so you can see a little bit better. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take and choose this prong, and I'm going to the transform menu, and we'll go in and do an array puller, and that means we're going to take it around the center point of this stone, which is going to be F4. So it says select objects to array. I'll pick the prong, hit enter, and the center of the polar array is going to be F4. And the number of items up there I'm going to change to 4. So if you wanted 6 prongs around this, you would type in 6 and hit enter. But I'm just going to type in 4, hit enter, and hit enter again because it already has given us 360 degrees. Well, that's a full circle. So 360 degrees is where I want to go. So it's going to put 4 of them around that angle. And I'll hit enter there. And then you've got your 4 prongs. Okay, and there they are, and we'll get out and look at it in perspective now just so you can kind of see it a little bit better over here. Alright, so we've got, all we have to do now is put another wire down at the bottom to connect the bottom parts of the prongs, and then Boolean union it all together to make one piece. Okay, now some people like to go ahead and they can design in the perspective viewport. If you can do that, it's fine. I'm just going to do it over here, or you can do it in the top viewport, but I'll just do it here. I'll do a circle. I'm going to start it on F4, and it's going to let me draw it in here anywhere I want. So I'm just going to look at where my circle is here, and just by eye I'm going to go in there. I'm going to make a little bit short of the mark for those because I don't want it to intersect too much into the bottom of those prongs. So I'll go ahead and left click there, and you can see we've got a circle there. Now you can change this if you need to. It's up to you. But we'll go ahead and take that now and put another pipe around that. And that's how simple this is. And you kind of have to look at this and say, well, let me see, do we want to do that 1 millimeter? I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'll make it 1.1 and enter again. And that's going to give us a little bit more of the base here. Now we're a little bit below, no problem. I'll get out of perspective. I'll bring it down here, zoom in here a little bit, and I'm just going to backwards dotted box this, so this means crossing. Okay, anything I touch is going to be selected. I'll shift ortho on, and I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. Okay, so it matches the bottom here a little bit better. Alright, now that we've got all that done, I'm going to go ahead and take and window everything here in the it doesn't make any difference in which viewport did it in the front. And then I'm going to hold the control key down on the keyboard, left click on the stone to deselect that, then to go to the solid menu, and we'll go ahead and union the piece. It'll take just a second, and they're all put together because you can tell just by clicking on it. Or you could go to the analyze menu up here and check it out and make sure you've got a good piece. Now the one reason why we put this in here, so this prong came in there, so that the jeweler can properly cut a seat and set this stone. If my prong is too far out, then I'm not going to be able to set the stone properly. I'd be cutting the seat, and then I'd have to bend this prong way over to meet the stone, and it won't sit in the seat properly. Okay. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is fillet the top edges of these prongs. So I'm going to go in here and do the solid menu, fillet edge, fillet edge. And before I go ahead and choose the edges I want to fillet, I know my prongs are 1 millimeter in diameter, therefore a radius of 1 millimeter would be 2 millimeter in diameter. This thing would never work. Okay, so you've got to change that to less than half of the diameter of the prong. So I'm just going to type in 0.45 and hit enter. Okay, and then I'm going to get large here by double clicking on that viewport. I'm going to choose each one of these and pull it over to the side there so I don't choose something inadvertently. You'll notice each one of them lights up 4.5. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and now it's going to show you here, if you can look at it there, how much it's going to fillet here. Okay, so all you have to do is hit enter again, and it's going to go ahead and round off all of these prongs because I chose each one of those edges. Okay, and it does them all at the same time. Still one piece, everything is fine, ready to go. Now you would save this head only if you were going to mill it or grow it. You don't need to save the stone, you know that's going to be just fine. And I do not suggest cutting the seats and the prongs. Let the jeweler do that for the most part, I think, in this case. Okay, that's it, and that's all you got to do to make a 4-prong gallery head.